Hello, Jasmine.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good too.
Good.
Thank
Good to
you.
hear. All right. Glad you're here.
Morning, Mr. John.
May, how we doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
It's better weather now.
Well, at least it's sunny. Now,
So your roof start to fixing.
uh, well, we still have to fix the chimney first. So that's supposed to happen next Monday.
Oh,
Yeah. So after the chimney is fixed, then we can fix the roof.
yeah. Next, just Monday, Tuesday, no rain, and then the rest
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday,
I
all rain.
know. Let's hope they fix it soon. Yeah. Let's hope they fix it soon, or I'm going to have a boat to go around my house. It's not that bad, but still, it's not fun. It's no fun.
You often go camping.
As much as I can. Now, the truth is, May, I've taught class from my car. I've taught class from my campground. So I've taught class from many places.
It's already fun, huh? Camping.
Well, I enjoy it. Now, my wife does not enjoy camping. So
You know,
usually I go by myself.
my kids really wants to camping. They ask me every year, every summer, but I say no because I don't know how to go go to the camping. It's dangerous outdoor.
Well, you might want to try. Well, okay. Well, for example, this morning I'm going to talk about some of the parks here in the area.
Can camping
Yeah, and there's actually a couple of
like a
parks.
overnight?
Yeah, so there actually are a couple of parks in Cincinnati. And there's also lots of parks in Kentucky. Now, I'm not going to talk about Kentucky parks today, but you can camp in a lot of the Kentucky parks, and you can also do. One thing you could do, May, is a cabin. A cabin is you can rent a cabin in some of the state parks. So I tell you what, I'll make a note and I'll send you the link. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So that way you can still go to a park, but you don't have to sleep outside. So, but some of the parks you can rent cabins. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe that might be a good solution. So.
So if we go to the camping, we need to prepare a lot. If we just go by ourselves, like bring my kids
Right.
go somewhere to camping. I'm
Well,
scared of animals.
yeah.
Something.
Well, that's why a cabin might be a good start. A cabin you're still inside. You
Okay.
have a sink and refrigerator, and you have some things to use. So that might be a safer choice. So all right. Well, I'll share that. Yeah, I'll send that information to you. So, but we're not going to talk about Kentucky parks today. I'm going to talk mostly about the local parks here in the area. So I'm going to talk about that here this morning. So, all right, I see lots of people here today. So, guys, welcome back. It is Thursday, March 27th. Now, I mentioned in our last class that today I was going to share some information about the local parks here in the Cincinnati area where you can see some beautiful, beautiful flowers and some other beautiful things about spring. So, guys, let me share with you some of those places that you can go and see because now is the perfect time. Starting this week, you're going to see lots of these blooming, beautiful, flowery trees that we have all around the area. So, I'm going to share with you my favorite places to go where you can see a lot of these blooming trees, right? In fact, maybe you're seeing some of these already in your neighborhoods, maybe near your apartment or house, or maybe you've traveled around a little bit, and you can see these. So for example, the picture you see here, this is from our first location. So I'm going to talk about that in just a moment, okay? And of course, since it is spring, it's starting to feel like spring, I'm going to share with you a very interesting expression today about spring. And then today I'm going to introduce a new idea for us when talking about these adjective clauses, okay? Now this topic might be a little difficult, so we're going to spend a lot of time talking about this topic. It's called restrictive and non-restrictive clauses. So I'll talk more about that as we go along in our lesson. But first, let's talk about some of the beautiful places around the area where you can see a lot of the beauty of spring, flowers and flowering trees. Now, all of the pictures you'll see here, these are pictures that I have taken. So this will show you, again, these are some of my favorite places to go. Now, when we're finished here today, I will share with you all of the links that I'll be talking about in our email. And so that way you can go if you would like to go visit. And you probably should go soon, okay? Because these trees and these places are blooming now. And you better make sure you go. You don't want to miss a lot of these places. Now, one of my favorite places is called Spring Grove Cemetery and Arboretum. Now, you might say, well, wait a minute, a cemetery? Isn't that where they put people who are dead? Well, but the cemetery was actually designed to be like a park. You see, the idea for this place was based on the idea of European parks, parks in Europe where you would have beautiful trees and lots of nature. So that way, people can kind of walk around and feel, peaceful and relaxed. So now, Spring Grove Cemetery and Arboretum is not a park. Okay, so if you do bring your children, for example, just make sure everyone is, respectful and, but you can walk around. It's a very beautiful place. You'll see people taking pictures. So just remember to be, very respectful because it is a cemetery. But arboretum means like a beautiful place with trees. So if you look at the pictures you see here on the screen, these are all pictures I have taken over the years at springtime, and you can see the beautiful flowers that are there, lots of interesting buildings, and then of course you also see geese and swans in the ponds there. So again, a very beautiful place to go visit. So that's one place that I would really recommend because right now these trees are in bloom, right? The colors are there, and you'll see lots of people taking pictures. Now, another place you might want to go is called the Cincinnati Nature Center. Now, if you notice, some of these do have a cost. So, for example, you can pay an entrance fee into the Cincinnati Nature Center, or you can even become a member. Now, remember, the places I'm talking about here today, they are not open all day. Okay, so you have to follow their hours. So when I send you the email, please check the hours of these places before you go. So for example, the Cincinnati Nature Center is not open 24 hours a day. Now I'm going to click on the link so you can see the location. And again, I will share all of the links with you, but the Cincinnati Nature Center, you can become a member. So you can have a membership. You can, join as a member, or you can just go and visit for the day. And there are lots of things to do. Now, if you have children, the Cincinnati Nature Center is a great place to go because especially in the summertime, they do have lots of camps and activities that kids can do with their parents. It's a really great place to go. So if you do have kids, this is a place I would recommend. And of course, you can see lots of beauty, lots of wildflowers. You can take tours. They have parts of the park where you can walk around. You can do little trails. It is a wonderful place to go. And spring is perfect because you see lots of spring flowers, right? But you also get the chance to do some other activities. So Cincinnati Nature Center, I would really, really recommend. Just remember, though, on the weekends, it can get pretty busy, okay? So, and these are pictures I've taken from the Cincinnati Nature Center. So, again, you can see lots of beautiful flowers. You can even see frogs. So, it's a great place to go. But remember, it does cost money. Okay, now the place I would recommend you go now is Alt Park. Has anybody been to Alt Park before in Hyde Park in Cincinnati? Usually I have some students who've been there. Okay, so Huang mentions it. Okay, that's good, Huang, because the trees are in bloom. They have lots of cherry blossom trees there. Very beautiful place. Very beautiful place to walk around, uh, especially having a picnic. It's a great place for a picnic. Now, again, it's not open all day, but it is open for a big part of the day, and it's a great place for kids and so on. Just remember, if you go on the weekends, like Saturday, Sunday, it is going to be really busy because everybody wants to see the beautiful blooming trees. Okay, so if you go early or maybe go during the week. So again, I will share the link to this location, but Alt Park is a very beautiful place. And again, I enjoy going and taking pictures there. Okay, now I think probably the best park system, Cincinnati parks, a lot of great parks in the Cincinnati park system, but I think the best park system is the great parks of Hamilton County. Now, there are lots of parks in Ohio. So everyone, I think we're all very lucky to live in this area because there are lots of parks. So I was very surprised when I moved here at how many wonderful parks there are in Hamilton County. Now, Hamilton County is where Cincinnati is located, but a lot of these parks are kind of outside of the city. So it might take you 30 or 40 minutes to drive. Now, May, you had talked about camping. You can camp at some of the parks in the Great Park system. But right now, again, is the perfect time to go walking through the trails to see beautiful flowers. So again, lots of beautiful flowers you can see on trails. Make sure don't step on the flowers. Okay, so be very careful. Now, the good news is if you pay for the parking pass, so you put the parking pass, they'll put it on your window. If you pay for the parking pass for that day, you can then go to any of the parks and you don't have to pay any more money. So you pay for kind of a membership to get the sticker for your windshield, and then you can go to any of the parks for the whole year. Now, I love the parks at Hamilton County. I've been there to many of the parks during many seasons, summer, winter. In fact, about 10 years ago, I won the Great Parks of Hamilton County photo contest. And so I got my picture, the photo I took. Let me see if I have a copy right here. I'll have to show you here. Let's see. I'll tell you what, I'll find it in a minute and I'll show you. So I got my picture on the cover of the park guide and lots of other good things. So it's a beautiful place to go. But let me click on the link here just real quickly to show you. So again, I'm going to share all the websites with you, but the Hamilton, Great Parks of Hamilton County, if you look up here where it says parks, okay, so right up here where it says parks, this is where you'll see the name of all of the parks throughout the system, okay? Now, again, there are too many parks to show you here this morning, but I'll show you a couple. My favorite park is Sharon Woods Park. And the reason I like Sharon Woods is because they have some waterfalls, some beautiful waterfalls that you can see, a great place to go hiking through a little trail. They have lots of playgrounds for kids. They have a historic village that you have to pay money for the historic village, but you can go and tour. It looks like a village from the 1800s. So there are lots of activities. And of course, summertime is probably the best time for kids. And just to show you right here, do you guys see this little picture here of this little kid eating the ice cream cone? That's my picture, by the way. I took that picture. So lots of fun things to do. This is the Heritage Village. You can go tour. Now remember, it's not open all the time, but you can take a tour. So let me click here and see if it'll pop up here. I don't know. There we go. So the Heritage Village is there at the park, and you do pay for tickets, but it's a great place when it's open. You can go through and see the sort of historic buildings from the 1800s. So it's a very nice place. And I've taken lots of pictures here over the years at this beautiful location. Another park. So for example, the pictures that I showed you in the presentation, These pictures here were taken at Winton Woods. Winton Woods is probably maybe one of the biggest parks in the system. It's also kind of far. It's about the northern part of the county. But again, lots of things to do there at Winton Woods. You can ride boats, play little golf, little miniature golf. This is one of the parks where you can go camping. So there are lots of different things you can do. And of course, Winton Woods, you can take a tour or take a trail, walk around and hike. So again, great parks of Hamilton County. Trust me, during the summertime, if you're looking for something to do with your kids or you're looking for activities to do, especially in the summer, you could go to a different park each week. That's how many parks they have. It's so many different parks. And there are a lot of them that are great for kids. Now, of course, my favorite place in Cincinnati is the Roebling Suspension Bridge. So maybe you've seen the bridge here before. I'm sure many of you have seen the suspension bridge, but it's a beautiful place to see, especially in the spring, because they do have some flowering trees right here next to the bridge. Now, I took this picture, again, probably 10 years ago, maybe not quite 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago. But I took this one in early April. That's because these trees here usually bloom in April, not in March. But again, if you want to go, it doesn't cost any money to go to the river. So you can just walk around to the Roebling Suspension Bridge. Or, of course, you can go downtown Cincinnati. Downtown Cincinnati has lots of beautiful little city parks, especially on the river. This picture here was taken at Lytle Park. This is on near 4th Street. And especially in April, like a late March, early April, you will see a lot of the tulips here, over here on the right side. And you'll see a lot of the flowering trees. The cherry blossom trees are there too. So I think I took this picture, I don't know, sometime in April. Okay, and then of course, one of the places that most people have probably been to, or at least usually go at some point, is the Cincinnati Zoo. How many people here have been to the Cincinnati Zoo before? Raise your hand if you've been to the zoo. Okay. Okay, well, a few people. Well, again, the zoo does cost money, but the best time to go to the zoo is in the spring. And that's because the tulips, the flowers they have there are out. And again, I took these pictures sometime in the middle of April. I don't remember. But the idea is April 1st to April 30th, they have the zoo blooms. And this is the perfect time to go and see all of the different flowers that they have there at the zoo. So again, if you like to look at the flowers, now, of course, let's be honest, it's the zoo, so you can also go and see animals. But the zoo blooms, beautiful time. And they still have, if you have little kids, I don't know how many of you have little kids, but they still have a little train that goes around the zoo as well. So you can ride that little train. So again, the zoo is a great place to see flowers and beautiful spring as well. So just remember, everybody, all of these places here are here in the area. They're blooming probably, if not now, probably in the next couple of weeks. But remember, the one I would recommend you going to very soon is Alt Park. Okay, that's the one that's in bloom now, has lots of cherry blossom trees, but just remember, it can get pretty busy. So just be careful and but enjoy going there. And just remember, with all of these places, right, to be respectful. We don't want to destroy or damage the trees or the beautiful flowers. But it is, again, these are some very beautiful places to go. So now, guys, when we're finished here today, I will share links to all of these locations so that you can go if you'd like to go see them. Just remember, some of these do cost money. So, for example, the zoo does cost money, but some of these places are free. Make sure to follow their hours. Okay. So, guys, there you go. There are some beautiful places you can go around the city to see. And Cincinnati has lots of these beautiful places, I think. Okay, now I was thinking, what is an expression that would be perfect for this time of year? Well, we actually do have the perfect expression. So everyone, let's turn on our microphones. Go on, everybody, turn on the microphones. Turn them on, turn them on. Okay, let's say this expression together. Spring fever.
Spring fever.
Okay, now you can turn off the microphone. Now, when we have a fever, right? When we have a fever, we don't feel very well. Right. So you might be confused. You might say a fever. That sounds like I'm sick. Like I know sometimes in the springtime we have allergies, right? Maybe you're sneezing or coughing. But actually, we usually use this expression just like you see here with the picture of Snoopy. Do you guys know Snoopy from Charlie Brown? Look how happy he is. Do you see how happy he is? Spring fever is here. So this expression basically just refers to that change in behavior, right? That comes at the beginning of spring, right? Now, of course, I think for most people, it's joy and happiness, right? We're usually pretty happy when spring is here. But now some people, I don't know, some people might feel maybe restless, like they're not very relaxed, or maybe they feel tired or lazy. I'll explain that in just a moment. But the truth is, I think most people use the expression of spring fever in a positive way, like happy, joy, because spring, right? Spring, we can finally go outside. We can finally see sun. So we're going to talk about this. And so I have a couple of questions to ask the group. Now, again, you can use your microphone or you can use the chat. So let's start with our very first question about spring fever. All right, group. Now, if you want, you can even use an emoji if you like. So how do we feel about the coming of spring, right? So spring is here. How do we feel about it? Do we feel excited, happy, lazy? Are we excited? Are we clapping our hands and celebrating with party emojis? So Huang says, really, really happy. Boy, that's a lot of P's and Y's. Okay, so Huang's really happy. I see. Okay. All right. Okay, what about anybody else? Anybody feel maybe not so happy? Does spring make you feel sick or sneezing or coughing because of the allergies? Some people may not like. Some people may not like it. Do I have any sad emojis? Anybody sad about it or sneezing or coughing? Really? May?
Yeah, I'm allergy.
Oh, well,
With
again, that
flowers, but I
yeah.
love flowers.
So let's see. Maybe you should wear like an astronaut helmet, and then that way you can go to the park, right?
Or just a
Jazz,
mask can help.
Jasmine says she's happy too. Well, again, I'm happy about spring, but I do agree, May. My allergies sometimes cause problems. In fact, usually in like the sometime in March or the beginning of April, I usually have one day when I'm really, really sick because of all of the flowers and stuff. And then after that, I'm usually pretty good. Yeah, I'm usually pretty good. So in this case, it sounds like most people seem pretty happy. Okay, well, now, of course, now that spring is here, what are some activities that you're excited to do? Now, again, you can use the microphone or the chat. Tell us, what are some things you're excited about doing here this spring? Could be maybe visiting a park, going to a baseball game. Yeah, for example, guys, don't go to downtown Cincinnati today because today is the first day of the baseball season. Okay, so don't go downtown. All right, so who would like to share? How do you feel? What are you going to do this spring? Anybody want to tell us? All right, so Miriam says go outside, take the kids to the park. All right, Adeline, what are you going to do?
I need to visit in the park.
Me too. I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready. Okay, May is thinking about planting. Wow. Okay, Huang, what about you?
I really, really like spring coming because the winter is really, really awful with
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah, to me.
this was a
Yeah,
bad one. Yeah, this was a
yeah,
bad winter this year. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And spring coming, I can go out. I can
That's
blend
right.
in vegetable, blend in the tree, and walking every day. And
Hmm.
today we go to the park.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
now see that's great. I like that.
Yeah, and I really like to take a photo. I love photo. I love
Okay.
photography.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, well get your camera ready.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so Jasmine said the same thing. Now, Jasmine, you've lived here in the area for a little while. Do you have a favorite park or a favorite place you like to go?
Um, I like to go to the zoo,
So you like the
but
zoo, okay?
yeah, I try to go to different parks to take my son to ride his bike and walk to the trees, and I like all that.
Now, do you take him to like parks in Ohio, parks in Kentucky, or
I went to here in Kentucky, Ohio. I'm sorry.
okay? So do you have a favorite Ohio park? Is like any particular Cincinnati park or Hamilton County park?
I went to one. It's near to Lebanon.
Okay.
They have a really nice place to walk. There is a lot of people. I don't know how's the name of that. Try to put like a disc. I don't
Oh,
remember the
you
name.
mean like frisbee?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, let me see if I can find it. Okay.
Okay.
Park near Lebanon, Ohio. Park near Lebanon, Ohio. Lebanon, Ohio.
Yes.
Is it Harmon Park? I mean, that's a little far, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But
Okay.
I was living there for a little while,
Oh,
so
so
that's
you
why
know it. Okay. Well,
yeah.
here, let me put this on the screen real quickly. These are the places that come up. Miller Park, Harmon Park, Warren County Park. Any of those look familiar?
Let's see.
You said it had disc golf, like frisbee golf.
Yeah, but I think it's the Lebanon Bike Trail parking because they
Oh,
have
okay. Okay. I see. I know. Lebanon Bike Trail. I think I know which one it is. Is it Little Miami, the scenic trail?
yeah.
I think I know which one. It's the YMCA country trail. Probably this one, or maybe there is one called Lebanon Bike Park. Okay. I think I know which one you're talking about because in Ohio. So Jasmine is talking about that in Ohio we do have a big bike trail that connects lots of different parks in Ohio. So maybe you were in that location too. So, but Lebanon's a little far for some of us. So Jasmine
Yeah,
looks
it
like
is.
yeah. So she just feels familiar with it. So I like it. All right. So Siham said she's going to take her daughters to the park too. Okay. All right, so it sounds like everybody wants to go to the park. All right, excellent. Well, hopefully, I don't know about today. Maybe it'll be nice to do that. But again, guys, it's our time to see those beautiful trees pretty short, right? Gotta.
Yes, I'm very excited about going out to walk and see the flowering and the trees which bloom. Especially it comes with our Islamic holiday
Right.
Sunday. So I'm very excited, and it's very interesting to go out
Yeah, so it's gonna
to
be
those
kind of
places, especially the zoo and the other barking
Mhm,
parks
mhm.
that you suggested. I really need to talk with my husband to pick up one of those to go out with our kids in incoming week.
Well, and the Cincinnati park system. I didn't mention all of the parks in the Cincinnati park system, but again, Eden Park is a beautiful place to go. I mean, there are so many places. I couldn't necessarily mention all of them, but yeah, so lots of places you can go. So if you guys live close to Eden Park, that's another place I would recommend. So okay, all right, very good. All right, now, guys, today is the first day of the Cincinnati Reds baseball season. So, yeah, baseball season starts today. So, has anybody been to a Cincinnati Reds baseball game before? Anyone visited a baseball game here in Cincinnati? All right, Barbara. Okay, so a couple of people. All right, so Barbara, are you guys going to go to a baseball game again this season?
Yeah, probably. I love. Yeah, it's so funny for kids and for me and my husband.
Do you like to eat the $5 hot dogs and the $10 popcorn?
Yeah, but yeah, it's a good time. So spend a lot of money, but it's a good time for us.
Yeah, so just remember, class, if you go to the baseball stadium, you maybe bring some money. Yeah. Unfortunately, it has become kind of expensive, but I do agree. At least one time, maybe a year, is kind of fun. Yeah, I agree. So maybe my wife and I will go sometime this spring or summer. Okay, now guys, I have one more question, and I want to see if you guys can answer it. Okay, now the expression "spring fever," right? I know you're probably thinking spring fever. It's like the excitement, right, about being in spring, but actually, no. There is actually a history behind the expression spring fever. Now, for example, just for a moment, if you go back to my definition, did you notice in my definition, did you notice some interesting words in this list? So, for example, I know many of us today maybe feel joy or happiness, but look at the other words again. Restlessness, which means like not being relaxed, being like I want to go out or do something, which I think many people understand. But look at the last two, feeling tired or lazy. What? Well, let me explain something. You see, the word spring fever actually used to describe something else. So I'm going to see if you guys can guess. So I'm going to give you this last question. So this is a bonus question. Okay, now let me read it and then let's see if you can guess. So in the 17th and 18th centuries, so that means in the 1800s and 1900s, this expression, spring disease or spring fever, was used to describe a type of strange behavior that some people would show at the beginning of the spring season, especially after a long snowy winter where they were inside for several months because of the weather. Now, for example, Huang mentioned this has been a pretty bad winter, right? We had lots of snow. Maybe you were inside a lot of the time, right? Maybe you were starting to go crazy. But this expression, this spring fever, it described something else. You see, these people would often appear very tired, like no energy. They would have bloody gums, like near their teeth. It would be like their teeth would be in bad condition and their gums would be bleeding and they would feel pain throughout all of their body. So people would look at these, other people and they would say, oh, they must have the spring fever. All right, now class, let's see if anyone can guess. Can you guess what the cause of this spring disease or spring fever was? Now remember, not just one or two people, it would be many people. Now look again at the information. They would be inside for several months because of the weather. They would often be very tired. They would have bloody gums, right? The gums, the part around your teeth, right? And they would feel pain throughout their bodies. So I'll see if anybody can guess first, and then I'll give you some help. So does anyone think they can guess what the cause of this spring fever was? Does anyone want to guess? Anybody want to try? I'll give you one more little idea to think about. Look at the time period there. Okay. Actually, I have the wrong time period. It should be in the 1800s, right? It should be in the, it shouldn't say 1800s, it should say 1600s, I'm sorry. And 1700s, sorry. I had the wrong dates. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Got the wrong dates there. Okay, now gotta suggest maybe it's because of allergies. That's a good guess. Maybe allergies make people feel this way. But No, I don't know that we would feel that bad, right? Just because of allergies. For example, bloody gums. They would have bloody gums, feel very tired, no energy, lots of pain. All right, Barbara, what do you think?
Sedentary people.
Okay,
maybe.
so yeah, maybe they're not moving or exercising enough.
Yeah, and
Okay.
eat a lot.
Oh,
Watch movies and
well, now, Barbara, we're talking about 400 years ago, so I don't know that we have TVs in the 1600s.
oh yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Well, I'll give you another hint, Barbara. I'll give you another hint. It's about food, but not the way you explained it. Okay. Now, Miriam said maybe it was a virus. Maybe it was the Black Death or the White Death. No, that's a little too strong, class. But I'll give you a hint. Barbara was kind of going in the right direction. It did have something to do with food. Now, I'm going to give you a hint. Okay, class, take a look. Look very carefully. Here is the hint. Look at the hint. What is it? Think.
Vitamin C.
Congratulations, Barbara.
Uh,
You see, Barbara, there was the opposite problem in this time period. Not enough food. Remember, this was before we had refrigerators. This was before we had grocery stores. So the problem is when you're inside, right? Think about it. Now, not just vitamin C, but also all of the other vitamins we get from which foods? Which foods give us vitamins, class? Which foods give us good vitamins to make our bodies better?
Fruits, vegetables.
Vegetables. So, for example,
Fruits.
we didn't have enough fruit or enough vegetables. So the problem is, especially for people who lived in cities, they would spend many months and they would not have any healthy food to eat. Now, class, I know I joke a lot that I hate broccoli. Okay. But I know that broccoli is good for you. You need vegetables and other things for your body. So, guys, now you know why we call it spring fever. You see, because originally these people would be very sick because, there you go, Gata, they didn't have enough food to eat and not enough vitamins or healthy food. And so they would start feeling tired, right? And their gums would start bleeding because they didn't have enough vitamins, or they couldn't take care of their teeth, and they would feel pain all throughout their bodies. Okay, so class, here's the thing you can say. Okay, here's the thing you can share with your children. All right, so tell your children, eat your vegetables. Right, eat your vegetables, eat good food, or you will be like spring fever. You may have bloody gums and feel. So that's the history of this expression. Isn't that crazy? Today we use spring fever in a positive way, right? We're excited about spring. But the truth is, the original meaning was the fact that people didn't have enough vitamins or food, and they would go crazy and feel often very sick or tired. So, class, there's the history behind this expression. So once again, our expression today, spring fever, is to talk about that kind of change in feeling and behavior we have. Today, we think of it as a happy thing, right? Joy, happiness. But in the past, people used it in a negative way. Tired, lazy, feeling bad. Barbara?
How can I use this expression? So I'm feeling spring fever.
Yeah, or you could say, I have spring fever.
I have. Okay.
In fact, you can tell your kids and husband right now, I have spring fever. Let's go somewhere.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
There you go. So if you feel spring fever, time to go outside. Okay, so there you go, guys. There's the history behind this expression. So hopefully you have spring fever, but in a good way. I hope you have a good spring fever, not the bad kind. All right, thanks, guys, for sharing. All right, now we got a lot of things to cover here in the last part of our class time. So I'd like to start with a little group activity, and then we're going to try a breakout room activity. Okay, and then I've got an interesting topic to start here this morning. Okay, so guys, we've pretty much finished the Burlington lesson when it comes to using that, which, and who. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to try this activity. We're going to start together. We're going to try the first one together. And then you're going to go in the breakout room and work with your group to see if you can fix the problems in the sentences. Right? There you go. There you go, Miriam. So in this case, it says, correct the error in each sentence according to the grammar in the lesson. So every sentence that you're going to see in this activity has a mistake. It has a problem. Now, the problem is going to be related to the grammar idea we talked about in class. So remember, that's using the words who, that, and which. Now, let's take a look at number one. Okay, look very carefully at number one. It says, Jim has a job, pays very well. Now, there is something that is missing or something that is wrong in this particular sentence. Who thinks they can help us fix this sentence? Okay, so Gada, what do you think?
I think Jim has a job which pays very well.
Okay, let's take a look and see if you're correct. All right, first answer, there it is. Now, could I also say Jim has a job that pays very well? Would that be okay?
Yes, because that is for the people and the thing.
Excellent, Adeline. Okay, so Adeline, could I also say Jim has a job who pays very well?
No.
No. No, because we're describing the job, right? Not Jim. Very good. Okay. All right. So guys, we're going to try this activity. We're going to go in the breakout room. It probably won't take you more than a few minutes to do this exercise. So we'll take about 4 or 5 minutes to try it. There are a total of 6 sentences. So we did number 1. So now you have 5. Okay. But the idea is work together with your group. And then when we come back to the main room, we'll quickly check the answers. All right. So just remember, the mistake is about the grammar of the sentence. Okay. So don't try to change the sentence too much. It's trying to find the mistake in the sentence. Okay. All right. Now, let's do groups of 3. Perfect. I think we got it. Okay. So guys, we're going to go. Okay. I think we're one more. All right. But let's go ahead and start. So we already did number 1. All right. So let's see. Adeline, would you like to try number 2? Where is the mistake, or what should we do for number 2? So Adeline, are you there? Can you hear me? Okay, well, she's having connection issues. All right, let's see. Maybe Huang, would you like to try number 2?
I'm sorry, but number 2, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Well, let's see. Do you think so? There's usually 2 places where there could be a mistake. Okay,
Yeah.
Huang?
Yeah, I confused about between they don't finish high school can go to college, but I don't know.
Well, let's start with the first question. So is who okay? Is that the right word to use here?
Yeah.
Okay, so that one's okay.
Yeah.
So the problem must be somewhere in this part of the sentence.
Yeah, exactly.
So
But
what
I
do you,
don't know.
well, take a guess. What do you think? Should I say students who they don't finish, or should I say something else?
Who I think student who don't finish high school cannot go school.
Okay, let's check it out.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you did it.
Thank you.
Yeah, the idea here, Huang, sorry, I don't know why I did that. Yeah, so the idea here is, if you recall, what we said is the word who is the word that kind of connects the subject to the action of the clause. So in this case, the word they is not necessary. We already know who the person is. So the word who kind of replaces that, makes the connection to the subject. Okay? So
Okay.
that's it. You did it.
Thank you.
All right. All right, let's try the next one here. So Adeline, can you hear me now? Hello, Adeline, are you there? Okay, maybe not. All right, so May, would you like to try number 3 for us?
Wendy ate at a restaurant which serves Italian food.
So instead of who, you think we should change it to which? All right, let's check. Oh, okay, let's check. So the next answer would be, very good, which serves. Now, could I also say that serves?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Huang, do you have a question?
Right. I'm sorry. No,
Okay,
no,
okay.
I made a mistake.
All right, so in this case, yes, we could say which or that. All right, let's continue. All right, so Siham, would you like to try number 4?
Okay.
Hold on, sometimes it's hard to move it. There we go.
Okay. Ursula is taking a class meet in the evening. Ursula is taking a class that meets in the evenings.
All right, let's check. Okay, yeah, so in this case, they chose which, but of course, we could also say that. Okay, so you are correct. All right, very good. We're doing a great job. Let's continue. All right, Meredy, would you like to try number 5?
Hi is a cleaner who he works at night. We can say Kai. He's a cleaner.
What do you think?
So we're gonna take the who off, and Kai is a cleaner.
Okay, well, let's ask the same questions I asked before. Is the word who okay?
No, it's not okay.
Why not? Is it connected to a person?
Yes.
Mhm.
Meredy, I think the class is trying to help you there.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you follow the sentence, Meredy, Kyle is a cleaner, right? So cleaner is Kyle. So that would be a person. So I think the word who is okay.
Yes, who is okay.
So look at the next part of the sentence, though. The next part says, he works at night. So if who is okay, what do you think?
We don't need he.
We changed nothing.
Well, we have to change something. There is a mistake. So May suggested maybe we don't need the word he. So what do you think, Meredy? Let's try it. Kyle is a cleaner.
Yeah, I think we're gonna take he off.
Okay, so let's
Kai
try it.
is a cleaner
Who works at night. Yeah, there you go. So remember, we don't need another subject for the adjective clause because the cleaner is the subject. Okay, so in this case, he is not necessary. Okay, so there you go. You figured it out. All right, now Adeline, would you like to try number 6? I think I can hear you now. Hello, Adeline.
Ali is the manicurist which fixed my name.
So what do you think?
Ali is the manufacturers who fixed my nails.
All right, you suggest changing which to who, and you are correct. Could I also say that fixed my nails?
Yes.
Aha. I think you told us that, right? So we could say who or that. Okay, so I think we're getting better at understanding sort of the basic grammar of the sentences. So just to review one more time, when we write these sentences, right, we don't need another subject. So really, there are basically two things to remember. Are we using the correct pronoun, like who or which or that? And when we use the verb in the clause itself, we don't need another subject. The word who, which, or that is connecting us to the particular subject that we're using. Okay? Now, of course, it just takes practice, right? It takes practice in getting the basic idea. And of course, what we're really talking about is we don't want to repeat ourselves, right? That's really important. We don't want to repeat the same word. So like, for example, in number 2, we don't want to repeat they because we already are saying students, right? We're already using that word. Okay, now what I would like to do is to take the last part of our class time, and I want to introduce one new idea today about adjective clauses. Okay, now please understand, this is a pretty difficult topic that I'm going to talk about. So today we're just going to focus on some basic things about these particular expressions. Okay, so if we're still a little confused when we're finished, we're going to practice with it a couple more times. Okay, so I just wanted to let everybody know because this next topic can be a little confusing. All right, so what I would like to do here this morning is I'd like to talk about this idea of the adjective clauses, but more specifically, that these adjective clauses can be used in 2 different ways. Now, everyone, do me a favor. Everyone, do me a favor. Turn on your microphones for just a moment. Okay, so everybody turn on those microphones. Come on, turn them on, turn them on. Now, I want you to repeat after me. Restrictive.
Restricted.
Restricted.
Non-restrictive
Non-restrictive
clauses.
clauses.
Okay, now you can turn off the microphones there for a moment. So what I'm going to show you here this morning is that we can use adjective clauses in 2 different ways. But if we use them in 2 different ways, it changes the meaning of the sentence. Okay, so I'm going to do some activities here, and then we're going to finish with a little kind of exercise to see how much we understand. Okay, so first let me start by explaining that the adjective clauses we have been studying, so when we've been practicing our examples, right, like students who, or the class which, these are what we would call specifically restrictive clauses. Now you might say, well, what does that mean? Okay, well, let me explain. You see, restrictive clause means that the information we are using to describe the noun is necessary to understand the idea correctly. Now, everyone, look at my example here on the right side of the screen. All right, now look carefully at that sentence. It says, students who work during the day take evening classes. Okay, now my first question to the class is, which students take these evening classes? Is it any kind of student or is it a special kind of student? Okay, Barbara?
Special students
And those
because they work during the day.
Excellent. So in this case, we have identified that we're talking in the sentence, we're talking about students who work during the day take evening classes. All right, that's a good start to our discussion. Now, there may be other kinds of students in the class, but the sentence is saying something interesting here. The sentence is saying that students who work can only take classes in the evenings. Now, class, before we continue, let's think about students who work at night. Students who work at night, can they take evening classes too?
No.
Why not? Why not?
They don't have.
They are busy.
It's possible to work and
What?
take the class.
You can't do both at the same time?
course.
Well, I don't know if you can, right? Sometimes I have students who want to take class during their lunch break. So, but you see the situation we're talking about. You see, here's the reality. There are other students in school, right? But some students work in the morning, some students work at night. So this particular sentence is telling us something very restrictive, or sometimes we call it defining. In this case, we're talking about only a specific group of students, but maybe not every student who is in school. We're talking specifically about the students who work at night. Who work during the day. Now, let's look at a picture that might help us understand this. Because if I remove the clause, the sentence changes meaning. So let's remove it for just a moment. What if I take it away? Let's watch what happens. Students take evening classes. Does that change the sentence?
Yes.
How? How does it change it, May?
It doesn't describe what kind of students.
So in this sentence, I'm describing every student. Students take evening classes. Now, I don't mean every student in the world, okay? Okay, so that'd be impossible. But I am describing students maybe in a specific school. So take a look at this picture, okay? Maybe this might help you understand. So do you see all my circle of people there? So this picture represents that sentence. Students take evening classes. Now, who am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about all of the students in this circle. These students take evening classes. Students take evening classes. All of the students take evening classes. That's what this sentence is telling you. Now, do we know their work schedules? Do we know that?
No.
No, I didn't say anything. I'm just describing the students. So if I tell you this sentence, then I'm talking about everybody. All right, now look at my next example, because this picture will show you what we are saying. You see, what we are saying is, from this big group of people, we are talking only about maybe a few of them. We're talking about students who work during the day. Now, I just asked you a few moments ago, what about students who work in the evening? Well, you said they probably take morning classes. They cannot take evening classes. Right now, I'm talking about evening classes. Now, who takes those? Well, students who work during the day, if I want to be specific. So the idea here is restrictive information is talking about only a part of the group or a smaller number of the group. Now, let's think about our class here this morning. For example, maybe not everybody in the class has children. So in this case, if I think about different ways to, maybe group our students, right? For example, everybody here in this class, right? You are taking English classes. Is this correct? Is everybody in this class taking an English class? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
I hope so. I hope you're not just turning your phone on and then sleeping for the next hour and a half, okay? Or I hope somebody else is not using your phone and taking my English class. Now, May?
Oh, I use computer.
Okay, that's fine. All right. Now, we might want to say, for example, that English classes might help. Yeah, students we might say that English classes help specific kinds of students, right? For example, what about online classes? Online classes might help a specific group of students. Who do you think online classes helps? Who are really helped by online classes? Who could we describe? Gada, who could we say? Who really is benefits from online classes?
Who have multiple responsibility or commitment, like taking care of kids, or who can't drive.
Ah,
Two
that's
different.
a good one. So, for example, if I think about the same example here, we could say, right? We could say students. So, for example, students who have kids. All right, Adeline, we got an echo there. There we go. Okay, students who have kids and who don't have a car benefit from online classes. Now, what the census is telling us is we're talking about a specific group of students, right? Now, you might say every student benefits from online classes, but the truth is maybe not. Some people like in-person classes. Some people don't want online classes. That's okay. So what we are describing is a specific group of students, students who have kids and who don't have a car. So in this case, this is restrictive information. Because if I remove this part of the sentence, if I take it away, now the sentence is different, isn't it? Students benefit from online classes. Is that true? Is that true? Well, I don't know. Because the sentence means all students benefit from online classes. Do all students benefit from online classes?
No.
Not necessarily. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think sometimes students wish, they want to be in person, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. So, do you see how the sentence changes? So the information that I erased now really is necessary, because what I'm trying to say is not every student. I'm specifically talking about this group of students. So again, this is called restrictive information. That's what we're looking at first here in my example. Now, let's look at another example. Okay, so as we said before, this is what we call defining or restrictive information. We are not talking about all students, right? In all of our examples, we were not talking about we were talking about students who take classes at a school, just a small group, not everybody. Students who work during the day, students who have kids, students who don't drive, right? These are very specific groups. Okay, now let's look at this next example. In this situation, the information we are giving is not necessary to understanding the meaning of the sentence. It does not define or limit the word or words being described. Now, let me explain what I mean. Take a look at this next example. My daughter, who I love, is called Amy. My daughter, who I love, is called Amy. All right, now class, I have a question for you. Where is the adjective clause now? Where is it in this sentence? Who can tell us?
In the mirror.
In the middle. So specifically, which words? Who
I love.
Who
I love. Okay. And then do you notice something interesting? The clause is separated by these two punctuation marks. Now, why am I doing that? Well, let's take a look. Because my next question is, class, according to this sentence, how many daughters do I have? If you only look at this sentence.
One.
What?
Just one. What's her name?
Amy.
Amy.
And what extra information did you learn about Amy?
Who I
Your
love.
Joe.
dad love her.
Her mom loves her.
You're all thinking there are only three parts to the sentence, right? Yeah, so I love her. Yeah, we love the daughter, right? Now you might say, Mr. John, of course, right? Of course you love your kid, right? Now this is not my daughter. I don't have a daughter. Okay. So yes, her name is Amy. Of course she's my daughter. I love her. Okay, now this example though is what we call non-restrictive or non-defining adjective clause. Now why? Well, because it is not necessary to the complete understanding of the sentence. What is the main idea of this sentence? What is the focus of this sentence? Look very carefully. Is it that I love my daughter or that I have one daughter named Amy? If you had to describe the focus, what is it? What's the most important idea in this sentence?
I love my daughter.
Nope.
The name, the specific daughter. I don't know.
Her
Amy.
name. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the most important idea. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, Mr. John, love is more important. Love is more important, but not according to the sentence. You see, this part of the sentence here, it is non-defining because I can remove the clause and it does not change the focus of the sentence. If I remove it, you still know that I have one daughter and her name is Amy.
Yes.
Now, the fact that I love her is just extra information. Now, you think that's nice, right? That's nice, but it's not the main idea of the sentence. You see, non-restrictive or non-defining ideas are not necessary to understanding the main idea. But I do want to share with you that it can change the meaning of the sentence. Let me show you. So let's go back to my original example. My daughter, who I love, right? So using those two commas, is called Amy. So how can I interpret that sentence? Well, I have only one daughter. Her name is Amy. I love her. Now, class, what if I remove the commas from the sentence? My daughter who I love is called Amy. This changes the sentence completely. Because if you look carefully, it says, my daughter who I love. Do you know what that means?
I have other daughters, but I love Joshua.
Yeah, we have a
Now,
lot of other burning daughter.
Now
I
I'm
love just Amy.
I'm sure, Barbara, that you love all of your kids the same, right?
Of course,
Of course. We have no favorites, Mr. John.
No.
No kid is my favorite kid. Right? Right? Sure, everybody. I'm sure you feel the same way. So guess what? Poor Cindy.
I have one daughter, but his name is Hemi.
Well, the truth is, Adeline, in this sentence, I have more than one daughter. So in the sentence, my daughter who I love is called Amy. What I'm telling you is I have maybe two daughters, but I love only Amy. So look at poor Cindy. Look at Cindy's face. Poor Cindy. Now you're probably thinking, that's crazy, Mr. John. Of course you should love both of your daughters. Well, I agree. But what I'm trying to show you is, how does the sentence change? Well, if I use the commas, right? If I use the commas, then I am telling you information that is not necessary, but it is used to emphasize that I love her. This is non-restrictive. that I love her is not necessary to the meaning of the sentence. But in my second example, it is necessary to know that I love this daughter, but not this one. Now you might think this is crazy. You should love all of your kids. But that's not what the sentence says. This is a restrictive situation. I have 2 daughters, but I'm describing only one of them. Remember, restrictive information tells us that there is a bigger group, but I am talking only about a smaller group, or maybe even just one. Non-defining or non-restrictive is usually talking about everybody or everyone in the group. So what should I say to make this sentence better? If I want to tell you that I love both of my daughters, this is probably what I should say. I should say my daughters, comma, who I love, comma, are called Amy and Cindy. Now it is clear that I am talking about all of my daughters. Now I'm describing both of them. See, now Amy's happy. She looks happier now, doesn't she? So what I'm trying to teach you here this morning is that non-restrictive information, by using these 2 commas, is telling us that I am describing everybody or everyone in that group. Now, the information is not necessary to the sentence. So again, the necessary information is that I have 2 daughters and these are their names. But I'm also telling you that, oh, and I love both of them. This information applies to both people. That is what non-restrictive information does. It describes everybody or everything. That's why it's non-restrictive. So, to help kind of summarize what we're learning so far, the easiest way to tell if the sentence is using a restrictive adjective clause or a non-restrictive adjective clause is using commas. So again, on the left side, my daughter who I love is called Amy. Well, this is restrictive because there are no commas. So remember, class, remember, restrictive means a smaller group or just one. But that means that there are other people or other places. If I see 2 commas, one before and one after, then I'm describing all of the people before, or the only one that I have. This is non-restrictive because I'm restricting nobody. I'm not defining, I'm defining everyone. Okay? Now, we're going to try a couple of exercises to see if we can kind of interpret what the meaning is of these examples. Let's try this one here, class. Students who work during the day take evening classes. Now, again, on the left side, am I talking about every student who goes to the school or only a small group?
Restrictive.
Yeah, small.
Small.
Just a small group. So remember, that is called restrictive. No commas, okay?
Yes.
But on the right side, students
Non-restrictive.
is non-restrictive. So now I'm describing all of the students. And I'm just giving you extra information. So I'm telling you that all of the students there work during the day. There is no difference among the group. Non-restrictive. Now, this is the most important thing that we're talking about today, is to understand the difference in meaning between these 2 ideas. Because as you can see, it makes a big difference. These little commas make a big difference in meaning, don't they? It's a big difference. So that's what we're going to do here in our last activity for the morning. So just remember this helpful tip, okay? Non-restrictive clauses can be removed and still keep the basic meaning. My daughters, comma, who I love, are called Amy and Cindy. So if I remove the part, it's still true, class, that I have 2 daughters and they're called Amy and Cindy, right? That's still true. I didn't change anything. Oh, and I still love them, but that's not necessary to the sentence. The sentence is telling you I have 2 kids. But restrictive clauses need that information because if I remove it, now the sentence does not become very clear. So for example, my daughter who I love is called Amy. Well, this is telling us if I remove it, what is it telling you? My daughter is called Amy. Do I have only one daughter in this example? See, it's confusing because now I forgot about my other daughter. I have 2. What about poor Cindy? You see, that information was necessary because I was talking about only one of my daughters, but you have 2. Which one are you talking about? So that's the idea. So let's try a little exercise. Okay, this is our last exercise here for the morning. And this is one that's going to require emojis. Okay, so we're going to use emojis for this activity. Let me explain. So in this activity, you're going to see examples using either restrictive or non-restrictive clauses. And then you will have 2 choices. What you're going to do is try to choose the correct interpretation of the sentence. Now, some of these might look a little crazy, okay? But let's see if you can guess what they mean. Here's my first example, okay? Take a look very carefully. Cincinnati, see the commas, which is next to the Ohio River, is a nice city. Now, look very carefully, class. Which emoji are you going to choose? Is it that there is only one Cincinnati? Or that there are maybe 2 Cincinnatis, and this one is next to the Ohio River? So show me, which emoji do you think is the answer? Okay, so let's see the answers. Okay. It's a 50-50 guess, right? So, okay, all right, so let me show the first answer here. The first answer is this one. There is only one Cincinnati. Now, class, how do you know? Well, I'll give you a hint. Remove the clause, and what does it say?
Cincinnati
Cincinnati
is
is a nice city.
So if I say that, then that means there's only one. Oh, Cincinnati. Yeah, I know Cincinnati. All right, look at the next example. The Cincinnati, which is next to the Ohio River, is a nice city. Now, again, is there only one Cincinnati? Or are there maybe 2? And I'm talking about the one next to the Ohio River. The Cincinnati, which is next to the Ohio River, is a nice city. All right, so you got a 50-50 guess, so try it. Don't be chicken. Don't be scared, just try it.
one Cincinnati.
Well, Adeline, you may think so, but that's not what the sentence says.
There is
It's,
only one Cincinnati.
well, you may think so, but that's not the sentence. The sentence is telling you that there are maybe 2 Cincinnatis or 3 Cincinnatis.
Yeah,
Be-
maybe here they're talking about Cincinnati,
they're
which is like next to Ohio. Maybe there's another Cincinnati
some other place.
yeah.
Hey, class, do you remember what I told you, Meredith? Did you know that Kentucky has a Paris? Did you know there was a Paris, Kentucky?
A Paris, Kentucky?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh, did you know there's a Mexico, Kentucky?
No.
No.
All right, you're starting to see. Wait a minute, there could be more than one Cincinnati. All right, class, look very carefully. This was a restrictive clause. You see, I'm only talking about this Cincinnati. If I remove it, now the sentence is not very clear because if you notice, what does it say right here? The Cincinnati. Well, which Cincinnati? The Cincinnati. Well, there could be two, it could be three. The Cincinnati that I'm talking about is next to the Ohio River. So in this case, because it's a restrictive clause, I'm telling you that there may be two or three. I know it sounds crazy, guys, but there could be more than one Cincinnati. All right, here's the next one. Take a look. The man who is sitting next to the door is the teacher. Now look very carefully. Is there only one man in the room, or are there other men and I'm describing a specific one?
One teacher.
Maybe one.
You think only one?
Yes, you described one teacher. Oh,
Well,
see.
who is sitting next to the door?
So what do you think, Siham? Is there only one man or is there more men?
There's
Maybe
m-
there is another
there's
man, but
more
not
Then
sitting.
men, and you are
that's
describing the one
that's
who's sitting next to the door.
you are correct. Yeah, so remember there are no commas, right? There are no commas. So remember, if it's restrictive, that means there's more than one man. So I am describing this specific man, but there are other men in the room. So remember, no commas means I'm describing just one person from a big group. All right, look at the next one. Look at the next one. That's correct, Gata. Yeah. All right, look at the next one. The man who is sitting next to the door is the teacher. Now, what do you think about this one?
You described two.
Just one.
Just the one.
Yeah, just the one who's the teacher.
Because in this case, Adeline, I only mention one man. It is a non-restrictive clause. So in this case, the person I'm describing is the only one in the room. There's only one man. Because if I said there were other men, there could be a man next to the window or a man next to the door. In this case, because I could remove, remember, I could remove the sentence, and now it's very clear. The man is the teacher. There's only one man. So again, it's going to take some practice. Okay, it's going to take some practice. All right, we got a few more. Let's try a few more before we leave here. My friend, who is called Steve, is going to help me move today. So I have only one friend. His name is Steve, or I have other friends.
One.
One.
Okay. All right, let's see. You are correct. The answer is I have only one friend. I know, that's sad, isn't it? All right, look at the next one. My friend Steve is going to help me move today. Do I have only one friend or do I have other friends?
Other friends.
Other friend.
Yeah, I've got other friends. This friend's name is Steve, but I have other friends. In fact, if I just remove the name Steve, my friend is going to help me move. You may have more. All right. Okay, now this one's a good one. People who eat broccoli are crazy. Now, am I talking about everybody in the world or only some people are crazy?
Some people.
People.
Well, let's see. Let's see the emojis. Let's see if everyone agrees with you. All right, you got me. Yes, only some people are crazy. So again, I think some of you eat broccoli. Is that correct? Who eats broccoli in this room? Who are the? Okay, so there. Look, everybody, those are the crazy people right there. All right, here comes. We got. I think we have 2 more if we have enough time. The students who are listening to Mr. John love English class. Okay, all of the students are listening to Mr. John, or only some of the students are listening to Mr. John?
All.
Okay, well, let's see if everyone agrees with you. Okay, I think we're getting a little better at interpreting the sentence. So again, because it is non-restrictive, we are describing all of the students, right? So everybody loves English class and everybody is listening to me. All right, what about this last one? The students who are listening to Mr. John love English class.
Some.
Some.
Okay, which ones are not listening to me right now? Who is not listening to me? If you're not listening to me, well, I'm just kidding. If you're not listening to me, you're not hearing me. So, okay, now guys, I know it takes some time to understand this idea, but that's what we're trying to learn here this morning. Okay, so real quickly, just to review, and I'll share this with you when we're finished. Okay, so real quickly, so sorry we're a little over time. But restrictive clauses or defining adjective clauses, remember, they describe only a small group or maybe just one from the group of people. So remember, people who eat broccoli are crazy. Now, not all people are crazy, only those people who eat broccoli. So if you eat broccoli, guys, bad news. My daughter, who I love, is called Amy. What does that tell us? Well, it tells us I have more than one daughter, but it's the daughter that I love that's called Amy, right? So in this case, I'm restricting that information. So restrict means there's a bigger group and I'm restricting it to just one or two or a few. And remember, with our writing, we do not use commas to separate these ideas because this information is necessary to the meaning. Now, over on the right side, non-restrictive information or non-defining describes everything or everyone in that group or about that one person. That means it's the only person. So the students who are in English class, right, like Mr. John. Oh, thank you. We are describing all of the students. They are all in English class. My daughter, who I love, is called Amy. Now, what does that mean? It means I have only the one daughter and her name is Amy, right? Because I'm describing just that one daughter and she's the only daughter because you don't see any others. And because it's non-restrictive or non-defining, I'm describing all or just the one that I have. And remember, we use 2 commas, one before and one after, to separate that information. Okay? All right, well, guys, we got off to a great start. I know it took some time to understand. Now, when we're finished here, I'm going to send you a little exercise very similar to what we did this morning, where basically you just have to choose which one is the correct interpretation. Okay, so I'll send that to you probably tomorrow. I'm going to work on it this afternoon, but I'll send it to you and you guys can do some more practice with it. Okay? All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Go out and enjoy the beautiful trees this weekend, and we'll see you next time.